Fuck. Ouch. I cooked jalapenos today, so my whole house is like permeating jalapenos.
Oh no. Oh
Uh,
no. And he's touching his eyes. He's rubbing his eyes. He's rubbing his nose.
Yo, so I'm gonna be honest, the Logan Paul theory might be alive and well.
It very well could perhaps be alive and well. Um, y'all, welcome everyone. Kickout Club Wrestling Podcast. I'm Tyler. That's
Salute.
Emil. He's drinking some fruit lemonade of some sort, probably strawberry lemonade.
You
Yep.
know the
Yep.
you know the vibes.
Yeah, it's giving
We used to live
2018,
in- We used to
2019.
live together.
It's given the spot. It's given the Highgate spot. If you know, you know. They're not watching this. None of the other fools are watching this. Anyway, y'all, the Logan Paul theory is alive and well, as Emil has just eloquently stated. And we say that because coming up, it seems like we are going to have Jey Uso versus Logan Paul for the World Heavyweight title. This is Jey Uso's first defense coming out of WrestleMania, beating the big bad Gunther. Merry Christmas, everyone. If you know, you know. If you don't, go on YouTube, watch the video. Anyway, that being said, yeah, Emil gives it the green light as chosen by his background lighting.
Tyler
Your
gives
thoughts?
it the red light. Yo, this is awesome. So Logan Paul said, I challenged Jey Uso. That's all that matters in this segment. And I'm like, I didn't see that coming, but I like it and I'm into it. And so I guess it's pretty public knowledge that I be watching these with my girl these days. And so her question was, why are we rolling? And I'm like, I've been rolling. We've been ready for this, right? So Logan Paul, of course, in 2022 had his match with Roman, and in 2024 had his match with Cody Rhodes. And has steadily been rising up the card, except for this weird time where he decided to go and face AJ Styles, right? I don't know where that came from, but it seems to me like we're back on course. It seems like we couldn't put Logan Paul anywhere important, but we kept having him do important shit. Because if we remember correctly, Logan was in the last few for the Rumble. Logan was in the Chamber and also one of the last in the Chamber. So we're clearly cooking here, and we're clearly long-term booking to make Logan look legitimate. That's the long-term booking. It's not like there's a long-term story or whatever. But the long-term is that Logan has been making himself legitimate, and we like it. We really like it. He's been cooking on the mic for his entire Netflix time, and before, he's been cooking in the ring. We love
True.
Logan in ring. And so this is his reward. This is his reward for doing the work. He's the celebrity that did the work. He's there. He's a star. He's constant. He gets one of the loudest boos in of the night. And this is it. We were talking just before this how it said that maybe this was happening too soon. This could have been a SummerSlam thing. But it's happening now, and thank you for playing the game, Jey Uso. Go back to the mid-card.
There's always a purpose for a champion's first title defense, and that is to have a solid title defense before you drop it to whoever you're planned to drop it to. So, yes, there were reports that, and I don't have a source. I don't know who it was. I remember it was a reputable source. That's all I know. That's all I remember before anyone comes at me. But the report was that Logan Paul versus Jey Uso was, in fact, the plan, but it was not anticipated to happen so soon as Backlash. Now, the match has not been formally announced yet, so it could be announced for a Raw randomly, but I doubt it. It's probably going to happen at Backlash. Yeah, I think that there is a possibility that it could be for Jey to drop it to Logan Paul. However, I think that it's more so to give Jey a solid title defense against someone reputable, because the big issue that I'm seeing now with Jey Uso as World Heavyweight Champion coming out of it, and listen, I'm not hating it yet. I'm not fully giving it a poo-poo just yet. But coming out of WrestleMania, it's clear to me that the big players on Raw are purposely ignoring the World Heavyweight Championship because Jey Uso is the champion, and they want to give Jey a big reign without Jey beating the biggest names, those being CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, all of that. So it seems like at the moment they're trying to find the second string main eventers.
This is the mid card heavyweight title we're looking at right now, gentlemen. This is the mid card,
which is unfortunate.
title.
It is unfortunate
Sorry,
at the
boys,
moment.
It is what it is.
We could have had Sammy versus Jey. I'm just saying.
Yo, so I didn't get to give my thoughts about Raw after Mania.
Yeah.
And they folded. They folded. That was useless to me.
That was the match. That was the match.
That was it. Sammy kicking him in the head as he came down the turnbuckle, that was the move.
Yeah.
But it's fine, whatever. Like, we didn't want to do that. We don't want nice things and good storytelling. Also, I don't think we wanted Jay to beat Sammy. I think that might have been also the play.
I think that's probably
right.
it.
We could have had him beat his brother. His brother could have kicked him.
That would have been crazy.
They had that segment for way too goddamn long.
Nah, they knew from WrestleMania 40 we cannot run that back. They knew.
Or Jay could have kicked him.
Nah, going for the heel turn.
For Big Jim.
It looked like Sammy was gonna do it. There was a moment where Sammy was standing behind Jay.
Everybody was ready. Everybody was ready. I was
because Jay was on the thing yeeting, just going crazy.
He was just staring at him.
As Pat McAfee would say, sneaking a yeet in here and there. And Sammy was just standing there watching him from behind. And I thought for a second he was either going to smack him in the back, wait for him to come down and haluva kick him into the corner. Like, that looked so telegraphed. It's crazy to me that was not the move.
Which I think might have been the point, because they did hold it for long, right? And Triple H is like, we're gonna give you exactly what you think is gonna happen, but we're not gonna give you exactly what you think is gonna happen, right? In hindsight, Logan is a good fit for this.
100%.
The problem here is half the internet probably wants him to lose, and half the internet never really wanted him to win. Half the internet is still mad that Gunther tapped out.
That's true. That's true.
And that's a problem.
However, do you know what this does do? It gets the people that were hating on Jey Uso going into and coming out of WrestleMania back on Jay's side. Because if there's one person that the internet can rally around to hate, it's Logan Paul. It's genius.
Unfortunately, that's true. I will say that
you are in the minority.
I am very much the minority here.
I respect your opinion. I definitely see the talent there.
I fully see the talent. I see the great heel work. I love it. I can't boo the man. The way the man has made me chuckle every time he touches a microphone. I can't. I giggle at something he says, and it's usually something ridiculous. And so I can't boo the man. I can't be mad at the man. I want the man to win. I think he's earned it. I think he's kind of he is but isn't Dominic Mysterio, right? The way Dominic Mysterio doesn't get booed anymore, because at some point you're laughing at something that he does, or you chuckle at just the stuffed chicken nuggets of it all. It just is what it is. The
PS5 of it all.
You hated it at one point, and then at some point it became funny, and now you like it.
And that's pretty much that. We got Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. Assuming for Backlash, here's my thought. And while you are the Logan Paul Glazer of the room here, and that's totally cool, there's also a Logan Paul theory which you proposed that I think is more and more possible the more I look at the landscape of where we're at with WWE. Do you mind laying that out for us?
The problem is we shouldn't have been here if we were going to do that, right? That is the problem, right?
Well, maybe.
Last year, was it last year or 2 years ago?
I believe it was last year.
Last year, SummerSlam was in where?
Detroit? No, that was Pat McAfee's. That was, God, hang on.
SummerSlam was in Cleveland.
I don't know. I don't remember. It was some Midwest area.
Remember, we saved it all for fucking Cleveland.
Great show, by the way.
We were selling for Cleveland. The point being, though, is Logan Paul is billed from Cleveland by way of Puerto Rico, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Has a house in the islands, whatever. I don't care. He's from Cleveland, right? And he was already building stock, right? And this was before his Royal Rumble win, good Royal Rumble appearance and his good Elimination Chamber appearance. He already had stock in the game, still, and he was in the Money in the Bank match. And I was like, yo, the dark horse is to pick Logan Paul, and I totally stole this from Sam Roberts, right? This one was company man Sam Roberts giving out a decent side take that actually was kind of logical. Because again, he felt the same way of we have to expect a Logan Paul world title win. We have to. He's not going to get the WWE belt, but he'll get that world belt. I don't see a way around it. And so him mentioning that Logan's from Cleveland has SummerSlam. There's going to be some big thing with the world title because it's not going to be Cody losing. No, so they were in Detroit 2 years ago. I'm sorry.
Yes.
So this was 2 years ago.
Okay.
This was 2 years ago when they were in Cleveland, right? The Logan Paul theory was the move. Oh well. Anyway, either way, it was him winning Money in the Bank, and him cashing in his hometown.
And so this brings us to today.
No,
Money in the Bank.
Hold on, stop. I was still right.
You were still right. It was last year.
Yeah.
We weren't potting 2 years ago. I think we started the pod after Mania 40 last year.
Yeah.
So, that being said, coming into this year, I usually have an idea of somebody that could perhaps maybe be a contender for Money in the Bank, and I don't have one. The one person I think that would be really fucking great as a Mr. Money in the Bank right now in this moment is Logan Paul.
We could skip it.
We could, but also I like the fact that he's barely there. That's kind of refreshing for a Money in the Bank guy, because if he is going to continue to barely be here, there's going to be that level of uncertainty of when is he going to cash in. Even more so, him being there less means less of those moments of like someone goes to run and cash in, and like last year or the year prior when Damian was Money in the Bank and Drew kept fucking with Damian and ruining his shot at cashing in, and the year prior, like all of that. We're not going to have as much of that, which is what I hate. Because 2 years ago when Damian was Money in the Bank, Mr. Money in the Bank, Senior Money in the Bank, every week it was like he went to cash in and Drew came out and fucked with him every time. So, works for me. Less of that shit happening. And Logan Paul, also, we could get these promos, video package promos of him just like taking the case around. That's another thing WWE loves, is having someone to bring the title around, their like physical representations of their company, of the sport, to public events. What better than Logan Paul? Who better than Logan Paul to carry around the Money in the Bank briefcase to whatever public events he's doing? That's a great endorsement for WWE. And then at the end of it, when they're ready between Money in the Bank and Money in the Bank 2026, you can have Logan cash in. I think that's great. I think that's a solid direction. I think if he wins the title against Jay now, it would kind of be like similar to how Jay won the Intercontinental Championship, how it was like really cool in the moment. We all had our doubts of like, did we really want to do that with Braun Breaker being Braun Breaker, and then him losing the belt so fast and being like, okay, so we shouldn't have done that. I really think that they should avoid doing that, especially now in this moment with the world title. Because then it also devalues the world title. And the world title is a relatively young title. We need to keep that prestigious.
And speaking of Jey Uso and the guy who he beat for him tapping out, Gunther and Pat McAfee are doing a thing.
They are doing a thing. So
they're doing a thing.
On the Raw after WrestleMania, we cut from commercial break, and Gunther is grilling the commentary team. In the build to him versus Jay, he kind of was antagonizing Michael Cole and Pat McAfee on commentary, and so this time he kind of snapped and was like, do you have something to say to me? Like, what do you have to say? And then Michael Cole, first off, Michael Cole, you're a dumbass for saying what you said, dog. You're a dumbass. This dude goes, well, I'm not the one who tapped out. Bro, that's the whole reason why he's pissed at you. Why would you say that? If you're trying to de-escalate, why would you say the one thing that would escalate the situation? So Gunther grabs his ass and chokes him and tries to choke him out. And honestly, kind of deserved. Sorry, Michael, you kind of deserved it. I love you. You're fantastic. But like, what the fuck were you doing? Obviously, it's supposed to be a big deal. Like, he's putting his hands on commentators. Like, of course, it's dangerous. It sells that it's a big deal. But come on. You kind of said, like, kayfabe aside, Michael, you kind of set yourself up for that one. Anyway, then Pat jumps up and he smacks Gunther. If you don't know, Pat McAfee has a wrestling background. He was a wrestler before he was a commentator for WWE, believe it or not. He had feuds with Adam Cole in the Undisputed Era and NXT. So go check those out, too. He was in a War Games match, believe it or not. He had a faction with himself and Pete Dunne and Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Man, what names we got there?
Some names that are no longer around.
And Pete Dunne. But man, so Pat's going to get back in the ring, because then we cut to this week on Raw after he got choked out by Gunther in the prior week. And Pat's like, you know what? Listen, I'm going to do it. I'm going to stand up to him. Gunther, I got you at Backlash. You and me, let's make it happen. And Nick Aldis comes out and he's like, because by the way, Adam Pearce didn't make Raw this week. So Nick Aldis was the one that was like, let's make it happen. So at Backlash, it will be Gunther versus Pat McAfee. I think Gunther's going to kill him. I think he's going to write Pat McAfee off until SummerSlam. And I think that this is a build potentially to Gunther's SummerSlam match. Buckle up.
The rumor is that I'm gonna bury the lead for you. The rumor is that it's gonna be Goldberg No, we're cool. It may be, and honestly, I don't see anything.
I don't know what else he does.
I don't
know
see
what else he
anything else
does.
going on. So unfortunately, we have to go through the summer of Goldberg.
Gunther Dom for the IC title.
Please.
We had that. Remember for the world title, Gunther was like they almost teased Dom getting a match with Gunther as world champion, where Gunther was laughing him off like Dominic Mysterio, really? Like I kind of would be down.
Please give me an IC match.
I would kind of be down for that. But listen,
we could do anything else. However,
it is supposed to be Goldberg's retirement too. His retirement match.
However, we don't want to downgrade Gunther right now. We want to keep Gunther hot. So instead of downgrading him, we're gonna kill him entirely.
Side grade him?
Give him the Goldberg, which is a terrible move. So let's talk about this for a second. So WWE has been really good with their use of legends. If we have to use legends, we've been using them sparingly, and we're not willing to test our patience. Also, we've been using legends we like, a la John Cena, a la CM Punk, a la Trish Stratus, right? We've been using people that we like. This ain't it. We don't like Goldberg. We don't like Goldberg.
We don't like Goldberg.
We don't like Goldberg. We didn't want Goldberg 8 years ago to beat Brock. And that says something. That says something. Because we didn't like Brock either.
I'm not going to lie. That Brock Goldberg Mania match did kind of cook, though.
No, it did not.
No, it kind of did.
No,
it was a car crash.
Not.
It was one of those car crash Brock matches that was actually pretty decent. Decent.
Pass. No, we did not.
It could have gone worse.
Bottom tier of that reign. Bottom tier.
Could have gone worse.
So
but
we wasted time. Remember, we didn't like Roman and Goldberg at WrestleMania 36. Thank God there was a pandemic. Not actually. But thank goodness that we did not have to watch that train wreck of a match. So instead we got the even worse train wreck of him taking out the Fiend and then him and Braun doing a thing, which was not any better. It was certainly worse, and we try to forget that.
Yeah. At least Braun got a title out of it. That was pretty sick. Love that.
So, in other words, what we're not going to do is have more Goldberg. I was cool. He went out on his back. I don't understand what he's looking for. I don't get what it's like. I don't get what
I think he just wants a retirement match, like a formal Goldberg's last match. Like,
no. For what? For who? You're not a WWE
for
legend.
Gunther.
You're not a WWE legend. You're barely a wrestling legend. Like, you're barely a legend. Like, I'm sorry. Like, Goldberg, besides your streak, like, there was not much there in that, right? There is not much money in the character Goldberg. It is what it is. Like, it is what it is. So we're going to say the U versus Triple H match was a good match. I'm cool.
Ugh. So the reason being, though, is just that, like, Gunther is, like, going to be portrayed as this bully kind of character, and Goldberg has been known to take out bullies and stand up to bullies. You know who else
Dolph
did that?
Ziggler?
I was going to say face John Cena, but hey, listen. This is not unique. So
this is bad. Okay. I hope not.
Listen, the only reason why I'm okay with it is because there's a strong possibility, because like you said, they're good with legends recently. So the only way they could use Goldberg in a good way here is to give Gunther a marquee match and to have Gunther win it. It's the only way. Everybody
watched that Trish Stratus thing and went, "Oh, Triple H, we're doing good things," and now everybody's like, "Yo, you're write me in, coach." And coach is like,
facts.
"Do I have to? Just because I can doesn't mean I want to."
Do I make a lot of money from that?
Do I make money off of this? And the answer is probably no. Trish Stratus did not sell Elimination Chamber. The Rock did.
Yeah, that's real. The Rock and Cody definitely did.
Is Goldberg going to sell me SummerSlam?
I mean, no.
No is the answer here.
That is the answer. The answer is no.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. It is what it is. So the notes here say that Becky and Lyra are cooking.
They are cooking. They're absolutely cooking. And sorry, I think there's like latency going on or something for a sec, so it might work itself out. We're gonna hope that it does. But Becky and Lyra. So listen. First off, should they have been women's tag champions? No, they should not have been. So the story was Bayley and Lyra going to challenge for the tag titles. Bayley gets attacked. Everyone's like, what's going on? Who did it? Anyway, we have a match, and Lyra has a mystery tag team partner against Liv and Raquel. The mystery partner is everyone's most predictable favorite wrestler, Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch comes out. They team. I'm dead. They win the titles. Interesting. Way to do Liv Morgan absolutely filthy, rotten, dirty. Anyway, we get to Monday Night Raw the next night. It's a rematch. It's the first match on the show. And Lyra eats the pin. And Becky is like, it's okay, Lyra. We're going to be okay. Smam! And she, I don't know what that word was. Schmow! I don't know, something. Remember that word? And she fucking clocks Lyra and turns heel. And everyone's cheering her anyway and saying, one more time, because Las Vegas doesn't care about kayfabe. Anyway, so the next week on Raw, Becky's coming out and she cuts a promo. It's a great promo, honestly. It's pretty good. It's the last heel run she had with Bianca was not great. It didn't feel like she was even trying to be a heel, but this one with Lyra, it does feel like big time backs, big money backs. So she cuts this promo basically saying like she got Lyra here. She's the reason Lyra's where she's at. Lyra let her down, all this shit. And Lyra comes out and is like, actually holds her ground and does something that Charlotte did not do for Tiff. And that is Becky let Lyra talk. Becky shut the fuck up for a second and actually let Lyra say things of substance, of meaning, not about DMs. Great stuff. Great stuff. I'm not saying the Charlotte Tiffy DM stuff was bad because honestly it was pretty good. But this whole thing was just... It was great. It was a great start. I think it was a great start to this feud. I think you could have had this turn happen at WrestleMania, but I digress. It is what we have now. Liv Morgan is once again a tag champion again. Sure, whatever. She should have got that Mania moment. Yeah, not all was lost, but Liv Morgan's WrestleMania moment was lost, and that's a shame. But good promo.
This was kind of bad. I'm gonna be honest. I don't care. I don't like. It's so strange that we couldn't have just like done something like this at Mania for one of the championships. Whatever. It's also strange that we decided to sell for Becky the Rock Lynch, because apparently Becky's writing. Becky's writing right now. So
Deadass?
Allegedly.
Writing what? This feud?
She wrote this. To come in and do all the things and then turn heel.
Interesting.
This was her idea.
Well, don't know if I like that, but that's fine.
So, it's good to know and endearing to know that Becky can do whatever the fuck she wants. At least they have the trust of her because Charlotte clearly cannot. So Charlotte takes liberties. Whatever. I couldn't really care less. I thought Becky just kind of was over the top. A little over the top for me. She's just kind of screaming. For what? Like,
I did feel like she was a little shouty.
And then Lyra kind of in turn was also just kind of shouty. Also, Lyra's just kind of bad on the mic. Like, sorry, like when we're in this version of WWE, you got to be better than that.
Yeah. Definitely like left something to be desired, but I think that was Lyra's best example of mic work to date, which is good. She's constantly getting better. She's already phenomenal in the ring. And I think that she overcame the bad booking that was winning the title at Mania, because what did that do? They could have done the exact same thing without beating Liv and Raquel.
Lyra 2 belts.
I guess for a night, less than that. 8 hours. Nah, 12 hours.
All these NXT girls are just here.
Kinda. Why? Why are they?
Why are we here? Where did Roxanne go?
I mean, she's also here. She's just in the mix.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not into it unless I'm not getting what's going on here, right? So, what's going on here? So, Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, Roxanne's running around here. It's looking a little invasion-y to me.
Yeah.
It's feeling a little invasion-y to me. But we're also
Michael literally said invasion on the mic on commentary.
We're also just putting NXT girls in matches for what? Like I like this is what I'm like. We're just putting them in matches for what? That could possibly be things like. Also, like, why are Rox and Julia messing with like why? That's cool though. It's questions. I'm not that intrigued.
I mean, it's just like it seems like the direction is we're getting either we're getting one of two things. Either we're gonna get a call up of just broad call up of Julia and Roxanne, and or we're just gonna get Evolution again, because Evolution last time was kind of built up and made out of all of the women of all the different brands causing chaos and fighting each other, and then it was like, hey, we have all this happening and the women's division's killing it, right? So Evolution pay-per-view. And there's been tons of rumors even before all of this playing out on TV of an Evolution PLE happening. The rumor is they have a venue booked. It's in Uncasville, Connecticut. I could perhaps go. It is in my area loosely. Should be interesting. It looks like they're setting up Julia and Rhea. They're setting up or Rhea and Io, I guess, against Roxanne and Julia, which is kind of cool. I'm sure Tiff will probably wrestle Nia if it happens, or somebody. Yeah, interesting stuff going on there. It's cool to see Stephanie. That Stephanie Io match fucking cooked until the interferences happened. Yeah, we'll see where that
Bailey's
goes.
been all up and down streets talking about let's do another Evolution, so I can totally foresee that happening.
Well, she's out with medical jargon, so we'll see if she's back for that. Even though she's fine.
I'm gonna say y'all internet motherfuckers are getting weird out here, man. It's okay though. That's all. That's what I'm gonna say about Stephanie, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Y'all. I'm just glad
it's nobody. We're not getting
weird,
weird, dog. It's
y'all
just Booker.
Weird, man.
It's just Booker T.
But now we're like, oh man, we should have Booker here right now, and we're talking about this and that, and the crowd's booing.
I don't care about
booing
that.
when the heel stops her from doing the move.
But that's the point. That gets heat.
And then they'll run it back. Yeah, but it's not. It's
fine.
Call it like it is.
Heat is heat, dog. Heat is heat, dog. You say it all the time.
Heat is heat, but can we be like 10%?
But what kind of heat?
Can we be? This is. I'll tell you what kind of heat this is. This is horny heat. I'll say it. This is horny heat.
This man gets in a relationship and he's holier than all of us.
I'm
Gentlemen,
not holier than all y'all. All I'm saying is like this shit is horny. Like y'all are going crazy.
You were silent during the Rhea movement, sir. You were silent during the Rhea movement.
No, I was
the Liv
vocal.
Rhea shit. You were silent.
That was horny too.
Yeah, but you didn't say it.
Neither did you.
I didn't say it about this either.
But this is different because that. So here's why this is different, right? Because they're putting Dom in the middle of it and they're making it a relationship triangle, right? It's still horny trash, right? Like I get it, but the difference is
they're trying to be serious.
They're supposed to be wrestlers who are like taking their craft seriously and being wrestlers and getting in wrestling feuds, and all the internet cares about is yeah. So it is what it is.
Yeah, man.
So it is what it is, man. Thank you, Booker T, for ruining anything and everything. Also,
literally, dog.
Low-key, Stephanie is a little sloppy.
No, canceled. Nope, that's it.
Sorry. Sloppy in the ring.
Dog,
there's a reason why it doesn't, like, I mean, the reactions don't even sound like all that on TV either. And here's why. Because I'm confused on who this girl is, right? Like, Rox, like, you get who she is. She kind of said who she was. She was being Rox, but, like, a rookie, again, on the main roster for a while. Now, all of a sudden, she's being just Rox as she is in NXT. She kind of had a different version of herself going on the main roster. Now she's kind of being who she is fluidly through the things. But we already know her, so it's fine. With Stephanie, it's different. Also, I don't fully understand it anyway. She's supposed to be a vampire?
No. She's just a goth girl. She's similar to Rhea. She's a goth girl.
But does she talk? Does she?
But
have
she's
like
not getting.
thing?
But she talks. She has she's what's her nationality? Bear with me for a moment. But she's Hispanic, Chilean. Yep. So she's.
Isn't she Chilean?
I believe she is Chilean. But she has a very strong accent, so English is not her first language. So she can speak English and cut promos, but she's a little limited in that there's some barriers that happen, but less so than others.
I'm just trying to figure it out. Even with Nakamura, right? Nakamura is probably the biggest star example wise that we could put for somebody who isn't an English speaker, right? You could still kind of get it beyond just the entrance, right? I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking for, right? Other than the internet.
I'd argue I don't know what I was looking for with Shinsuke the whole time. It's kind of why I liked him. He was just this weird Japanese dude, and that was cool.
All right, we're getting crazy. Let's move on.
I'm just saying that's why I like Steph. But anyway, what we got?
But I guess as far as having another Evolution PLE though and stuff, I'm here for it. I'll take another one.
I thought they were gonna make it a yearly thing. I'm shocked that they didn't.
I don't think we had the roster for that. Then I think we do now.
Yeah, especially with NXT.
I think it was necessary to have. Then I think now we have the roster to make it a thing.
That's real. I think especially with NXT, you can dip into that well. You have Jordan Grace down there as well. You have the women's mid card.
An Evolve girl.
Sure.
You could
LFG if you want to.
You could have an LFG person beat an Evolve person if the
TNA.
What's I don't know what the hierarchy is these days because there's side missions you can go on. TNA is TNA and NXT are about the same, but TNA is the side mission for NXT, right? So it's you go LFG, Evolve, NXT.
ID is even lower than that. ID is the indie scene. It's ID, LFG, and Evolve as a trio into NXT, into the Raw and SmackDown. Honestly, maybe TNA Evolve could even be an in-between step. It could be ID and LFG and then Evolve and then NXT and then the main roster. And then TNA on the side of NXT.
If you're I'm bored in NXT, but I don't want to go up because
Trick Williams.
You're saying he should go to TNA?
He already is. He's feuding with Joe Hendry.
Is he winning?
He honestly, yeah.
No.
I don't think he's getting called up, and I don't think he's going to be the one to take the title from Oba. I think that's Javon.
So where's Joey going?
Where do you think, dog? Take your pick, Raw or SmackDown.
Nowhere.
I mean, I think he'll stay. I think he'll stay in TNA. I don't know when his contract's up. I don't know when his TNA contract's up, but whenever it is, he's going straight to WWE. They wouldn't have put him on WrestleMania for nothing. Against Randy Orton?
Maybe Randy picked him
over Jeff Hardy, and they said okay. They would not have given him the okay if they didn't think they were going to sign him.
They did sign him. That's what a TNA contract is these days.
I guess
the TNA contract on its own is not worth the paper that it's printed on. No offense to TNA, but
TNA's kind of cooking, dude. TNA's cooking.
They have the WWE backing.
Nah, but they just as its own thing, even before the NXT crossover, it was doing pretty well for itself.
Whatever.
We just kicked it. Oh, sorry. Talk about what? No, I was just gonna say
we about these bigger stories we've been kind of putt-putting around the rest of the.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna start with one of these two, but we got two stories to talk here.
But Jey Uso took up my time as
That's
per
fair.
usual.
That's fair.
That man
lives rent free in your head.
That man lives rent free in my head. All right, let's really get into it. So Seth Rollins is doing a thing. Seth Rollins is in a faction. Seth Rollins can't ever seem to leave a faction or want to create a faction. We have kind of combined the Architect and the Messiah to create whatever this is.
The Archisiah, the Messatect.
We're making the Shield 3.0 or 4.0. I don't know which version of the Shield we're on these days.
Depends on which one you consider the Kurt Angle lineup.
So right now, we have this little thing going on with Sami Zayn. So Seth Rollins, last week has kind of killed off CM Punk and Roman Reigns. That's kind of the goal right now, right?
Yeah.
Roman has been announced for absolutely nothing until the summer.
Money in the Bank, to be exact.
Thanks for playing, Roman. We'll see you in about 5 weeks. And CM Punk has mysteriously disappeared. Probably to take some much needed time off because he worked a really full schedule going up to Mania. He did not.
I'm dead.
Well, he kind of did. He did go to Europe.
He did. He didn't
did
wrestle.
go to Europe.
He didn't
He
wrestle
didn't
on TV.
He didn't have a staph infection, and he didn't, wrestle. But like he did go to Europe. So okay, I guess he needs a break because he went to Europe. I mean,
Hey, man.
cutting
That jet lag.
promos and doing pull apart brawls all day is a real difficult job. I wish I could do that
While being jet lagged.
Yeah, facts. It's cool though. So to subsequent for this, we didn't have Sammy turn on Jay and instead threw him in with Rollins, which was a really interesting move, right? So we're kind of picking up where we left off with these two, right? Where these two kind of had their little thing going on around the time of Survivor Series. Rollins was like, "How can you forgive him?" Blah blah blah, and we kind of picked up right where we left off. So we planted these seeds for a reason. Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn, or Sami Zayn rather, was like, "Oh, look at you, back in a group again."
You've been complaining about the bloodline and all of that, and saying how bad that was and how bad Roman was, and here you are standing here with the literal wise man of the bloodline in a group.
So time out. I don't love that we keep calling him the wise man. I'm not a huge fan of that.
I agree.
Not a huge fan of that because that was a Roman gimmick, right? Like, and Paul, who is super smart, has always reinvented himself with each character. Right now, Paul Heyman is in this weird spot where he doesn't know what he's doing, which is, I feel like, is new for him because I don't really understand what the point of Paul Heyman is here, right? And I'm not going to understand the point of this, right? Because Seth Rollins is super smart, super cunning. Seth Rollins is like, has always been kind of put up to be this smart character. He was smart enough to turn on the Shield and take Triple H. He was smart enough to leave Triple H. He was smart enough to win the Rumble and go after Brock. He was smart enough to take out Rey Mysterio's eye. And then he grew it back.
Stem cells.
He was smart enough to acquiesce that Cody could just face him instead of Roman, and we could leave Roman all alone at the biggest WrestleMania ever, which wasn't, terribly stupid. Seth was smart enough to realize that he was the key to taking down Roman Reigns and the Reign of Terror. And now Seth is still smart enough to realize that he doesn't need a Paul Heyman, right? I would venture to guess that. So I don't know what Paul Heyman's point here is. Second off, like I was saying, Paul Heyman knows how to play characters separate with everybody that he's working with, right? So when he was working with Brock, at the same time working with Punk, he was two different guys. He was Hype Man Slimy, and he was the best friend, right? Two totally separate characters, fight promoter and just the homie. And then there's, who he is with Roman, where he's inferior of Roman, right? And then who he is with Cowboy Brock, which is just, whatever. So there's all these different versions of Paul Heyman. There's the ECW version of Paul Heyman, and there's the Midnight Express version of Paul Heyman.
There's also like the Paul Heyman that is like out of control. Not out of control, but like he doesn't have control. Like Brock, like I remember vividly, Brock would just attack people and go crazy, and Paul would just be standing there powerless, like trying to tell Brock, like, back off, like you are causing issues, back off, like to sell that Brock was like this like insane monster, right? And like even just the moniker itself, right? With Brock, he was the advocate. With Roman, he's the wise man. With Seth, he's still the wise man. It's really weird. They didn't really have a label with him and Punk, but that's the point, right? They're best friends. That's really all it was.
You stole me.
Yeah.
And then, so anyway, whatever, right? That is what it is, right? Seth has to now prove that this isn't his version of the bloodline, right? Where because we don't know what Braun's motivation is yet, do we? I don't really.
I think it's just that, because Seth's motivation, he said it. Seth's motivation is the future of the business now runs through him. He didn't He didn't like the bloodline. He didn't like all of that stuff going on because he didn't have control of the future of the business. And we know Seth is a big company guy. He loves the wrestling business. It's his life. He's probably going to be the guy to succeed Triple H in another 30 years or so, or 20 years or whatever. Like, let's be real. That's who Seth Rollins is, and that's who he's going to be. So to take that similar mindset that he has and to put that into a heel character turns into what we have right now with the Messiah architect thing, where he literally is saying the future of the business runs through him. Enter Braun Breaker, somebody that Seth Rollins clearly sees as the future, and more importantly, Paul Heyman sees as the future. There, we know for a fact through reporting and backstage relationships that Paul has worked directly, personally with Braun Breaker as he's come up through NXT. We've seen them cross paths a couple of times. It's clear that there's a IRL, real world relationship with Braun and Paul. And that's when Paul does his best work. That's how Paul finds his best Paul Heyman guys. Remember Curtis Axel? I don't believe there was real life connection. It was ass. You see this one? This has real life connection. I think it'll be great. And I think him and Seth developing their connection through the various feuds that both of them have been a part of. While Paul was with Brock, while Paul was with Roman, obviously there was a lot of times where Seth would be working with Paul as well. So it's clear to me that it's just that Seth is trying to control the future of the business. Now, they've said that there's been comparisons about this faction, direct comparisons that people have said. Two of them come to mind. One of them being the Dangerous Alliance. Looking back at Paul Heyman's past, he was Paul E. Dangerously back in the day. He had a big heel baddie faction, kind of like Bobby the Brain Heenan, where he had heels of all different walks of life, positions on the card, different, and men and women all rallying around Paul Heyman. Then you have what more people are probably comparing to, A, because of the WWE knowledge, and B, because of just the direct correlation of the two, is Evolution. So Seth and Triple H, we already have talked about how they're very similar. Triple H and Ric Flair came together to form a group with Orton and Batista to cater and care for the future of the wrestling business. It built up Batista and Orton to be future stars. And now we have this group where Seth and Paul could hypothetically have come together and have recruited Braun Breaker as their future guy and also their muscle. Now, there's been talks of there's only 3 of them, and 2 of them are wrestlers, and one of them is Paul Heyman, right? Is there room for a third person? And I think the overwhelming majority says yes, there is room for a third person. There's been talks of who it could be. There's been reports saying that this is the plan, to just stick with the 3 of them, and that's it. I find that very weird.
Pass.
Agreed. I find it weird.
I would pass.
I find it weird. I find it incomplete. I find that there needs to be a 4th person. I have 2 in mind, or 3 technically, but 2 that I'm really sold on. You've probably heard them. I'll list them now. 3rd one out of 3, my least likely option, Carmelo Hayes. He's a young guy. So first off, before I get super into it, let's rewind a bit. The spot we're trying to fill is the Randy Orton spot, right? It's the spot for the young, brash, cocky, cunning, up-and-comer blue chip prospect who's a loudmouth and the exact opposite of Braun. Braun's going to be the shut up and fight. Seth's going to be the architect pulling the strings. This 4th man is going to be the guy that's going to be running his mouth, being super cocky and confident. And I think that Carmelo could fit that role really well. So Carmelo Hayes is my 3rd choice. He's already doing all of that on his own. The reason I don't think he's a good fit is that I think that Carmelo is fine on his own. And I think that the story he has with The Miz has been great. And I think that it's going to lead to a great feud between him and Miz and elevate Carmelo to where he would be if he was also in this faction. And I think him and Braun having similar trajectories through NXT also prevents that from happening. Or not prevents it from happening. It'd be really weird if the 2 of them were so directly linked after they've been linked together for so long because their career has been so similar. The next one, pulling from NXT, Ethan Page. Similar thing to Carmelo, he just doesn't have a direction, and I think that Ethan Page would just fit really well in this group of guys. And just to rush it a little bit, my most likely pick is Austin Theory. I think Austin Theory is perfect. He's built, he's a loudmouth, he's cocky, he's arrogant, he's young. It's perfect, and we can get him out of this stupid tag team with Grayson Waller.
You know what's actually funny about that is I looked up Austin Theory just now because I was like, how old is this guy? Because This guy has been around for a minute. What, since 2020? Like, this guy's just been around for a minute, and so I was like, oh, he's probably like in his early 30s, and I was like, that's a little old, but so was Batista. Um, so that's cool. I get it. And everybody else is like in their 40s now and in their prime, so it's fine. But Austin Theory's only 27, so I'm here for it. I don't know. That's gonna be a hard sell, especially considering he's not really on TV right now. Like, the good thing about Braun is that he's on TV. But also maybe that's the point, right? Theory not being on TV would really throw people through a loop. I'm not checking the internet for ideas on what people are saying about this. So, but I would venture to assume that Austin Theory would throw a lot of people off. In the moment, I think with a little bit of research and a little bit of kind of thinking through it, it could work. But I have no opinions on who I think could go in there, or options. I guess, but it does feel empty. This kind of thing works better in a trio than a duo, especially if one of them is not a wrestler. And Paul Heyman is certainly not taking bumps and giving bumps at 60. So, except maybe Dick Kicks. Or Dick Hits. But
So there's a wild card pick that the internet's thrown around a bit as well. Obviously, all men so far. There's a potential that they could put a woman in there, and my favorite female suggestion, I just got to shout it out because I love this wrestler. I think she's fantastic, and I think that it would be awesome. Jordynne Grace.
I was gonna say Jordynne Grace
The
too.
visual of Braun and Jordynne Grace in a faction would have me fucking pissing myself. I'd be so scared if two of the most jacked motherfuckers in the company like them came at me.
I still feel like there needs to be, so this to me always works when something like this happens in where there's ability for a singles, a tag, and a fourth, right? The fourth can either be, a talker or a woman or whatever, right? Think the Death Riders, right? There's four of them. Last I checked. It's Wheeler, it's Claudio as the tag, who can double up as singles guys. And then there is what's her name?
Oh, so yeah, Neville, Pac as well.
Well, Pac's in it too. I forgot about Pac.
Yeah. So Pac, Claudio, Marina Shafir, and Mox.
Pac, yeah. So wait,
and Claudio.
What happened to and Claudio, right?
So it's the five.
So there's but of course AEW has trios belts. We don't have a trios belt here in WWE, so I don't think we need to inflate it that big. So to me though, like, if we put a girl on it, that would be awesome and fantastic. Still empty though, and I think this kind of does need to mirror the Death Riders a little bit. Not in message or whatever, but as one Shield member does, the other one usually follows. Is kind of what's going on. Roman gets a stable, and then Mox got a stable. Now Roman doesn't have a stable. Now Seth's gonna go get one. Someone wins a world title, someone's going to immediately win one right after. Or at one point, all three of them had a belt, a world title, which was super fun for all of 2 months that happened.
Something like that.
It seems like the Shield brothers can never seem to drop, not look at each other and go, I want to do that. Kind of cool, especially when they're not all in the same company.
So just to get back to the main point of it just a little bit, I'm almost thinking that right now that's all we're going to see of this this interaction between Sami Zayn and Rollins in the faction. And
well, they killed him.
Yes, and I think it's going to, I mean, I don't know if he's going to be written off, because that'd be weird to have him come back for like 2 weeks. He did. So it's like, it'd be weird, right? So they did offer him the opportunity to move to SmackDown and get a shot at the WWE champion after Backlash. Not happening.
So wait, stop, because I was like, damn, that's smart. And I was almost like, damn, I almost want him to do that, because like, as a wrestler, I'm sitting there going, whew. Whew. Like, even as like the biggest pure babyface in the world, and Sami Zayn is probably the biggest pure babyface in the world, right? It's like, damn, man, that's so hard to walk away from. Especially if your goal, right? Like one of Sammy's last goals, I do believe, is to get that big world title win.
He's been talking about it a lot,
and he mentioned it, and I was like, damn, I was like, I kind of want them to write him to do it.
So this is where I'm thinking we go. Where
also because like low key that's dumb. Like am I gonna really give that up? Like that's craziness. But of course that's
right.
making a deal with the devil.
Yeah. Well,
Paul
we've
Heyman.
been seeing a lot of people making deals with devils. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
Miz said he'd sell his soul.
Exactly. Exactly. Ms. Rock, Cena, Travis Scott. Please no.
I'm rolling.
Please
I'm
no.
so
Please,
rolling.
God, no.
Look at the WrestleMania 27 callback we can do.
Oh man.
This
Anyway.
can come back out in alt cap again. I'm hijacking.
Oh my God. So here's where I think we go. Can you tell me where the Royal Rumble 2026 is going to be?
Saudi.
Yep.
So no, stop, because this was not either of our theories. I stole it from YouTube and I put it in the chat. So I'm gonna say this.
What? I definitely said that this was setting up Sammy.
Either way, CM Punk is not winning the 2026 Royal Rumble.
Oh, absolutely not. CM Punk? No way.
So check this out, right? We're again going off topic of the
That's
actual
fine.
topic.
That's fine.
But right, because this all comes back, all roads lead to Tyler and his YouTube video that is either out or gonna be out, where he talks about his WrestleMania 42.
Oh yeah, I haven't actually put that out yet. Coming soon.
Which is about 50 weeks away from now, right? So that in mind, his prediction was that Seth and Sammy do a world title match at Mania.
I did initially say Seth and Punk, but that's not happening.
Or Seth and Punk. This opinion came up probably a day after the Sammy segments. So he kind of pivoted. He pivoted at a much better time to pivot in April of the previous year, before April of
by the dip
Mania at that point.
By the Sammy dip.
So here's the Sami Zayn theory. The Sami Zayn theory is that he wins the Rumble and stops Seth Rollins' reign of terror, whatever version of his reign of terror is. It won't be 1,000 days.
I think that this story is booking the World Heavyweight title picture from now until WrestleMania 42. I think Seth will get a match at SummerSlam against Jey Uso and beat Jey. And then I think Seth will hold it from SummerSlam until WrestleMania 42.
Wow, so the world title just has to keep doing this whole "I'm gonna win you at Mania, yay!" I'm
that's
gonna
fine.
lose you by SummerSlam.
Here's the thing. We said we don't want WrestleMania to be the start of stories. So, there you go. We're ending a story.
Fair enough. So here is my opinion on this. Sami Zayn is not the hero here. Sami Zayn is the hero that dies in this, right?
Is he not the Darby, right? AEW had something like that where they had a hero that died and then they had someone else be the real hero. I think Darby was technically the one that died so he could climb Everest, and now the real hero is going to be Will Ospreay because Samoa Joe's also going to die.
Right. Do we have a movie reference that is a little bit easier to put this in? Sami Zayn is not the hero
I have one on the tip of my tongue. I just can't think of it.
Conquers the story. Sami Zayn is definitely the one who dies, right? And that we go for Narnia. That's who Sammy is.
Oh wait, I know who.
By this logic, Kevin Owens is the hero, but Kevin Owens is not coming back anytime soon.
I know who the Sami Zayn is of a previous story that I could tell. Sami Zayn last year, literally Elimination Chamber with him and Roman. And everyone right before WrestleMania was like, Sammy should win. And we were like, and half people were like, hell yeah, let's do it. And the other half were like, why?
Yeah, why are we going to ruin the best story of the last 4 years?
That's literally it. So you think Sammy's going to do that again? And I mean, that's fine. I'm not judging it. But like, it could.
Sammy is the best hero to die on a sword.
Or maybe he gets an early title shot against Seth just after SummerSlam, loses, and then wins Rumble. That could be a thing. That could be a thing.
So again, he has a very strong case for winning the Rumble. And this happening though because it is in Saudi Arabia, and with all the kind of interesting relationship that goes on with Sami Zayn's religion.
Yes, it's either the Sami Zayn theory or the Logan Paul theory. Because they love Logan too.
They love Logan over there. And it might be the only place that doesn't boo him as if he wins.
Or throw trash at him and riot.
Well, no one's throwing trash. If they didn't throw trash when I thought
they stopped that real quick with WWE. They dropped the hammer on that.
But the main point is CM Punk is not winning shit because CM Punk ain't going to shit. Even though he should have won shit, But he should have won shit last year.
Yeah.
This year
Yep.
we tanked
He should have won
that.
Mania 40, but he got injured, and that's really sad.
Anyway, so this faction though is Sami Zayn is not the hero to me. He is the hero that dies.
I'm definitely like, this is definitely my favorite story coming out of WrestleMania right now. I love this story. I love this story.
It's interesting because it's kind of just like, why? Who?
Right.
What?
It's such a left turn. It's such a hard left. Like, it's like every other story has been built up from other stories. This one is just like out of nowhere.
Which is nice considering like we don't do many like, hey, let's start something.
Yes.
Where we always seem to be picking up a calling back these days, which is cool. Like I get it. It's a nostalgia
Nostalgia's
market.
real.
It's a nostalgia market, right? It's all. I mean, we've been in a nostalgia market probably since COVID, right? Because we all had time to go back and look at shit for once. So you didn't just have to keep throwing new shit at me. And I mean, movies have been doing it for years, right? Everything's a sequel. Everything's been a sequel for 10 years, so it's fine. You know, everything goes up and down. Once we run out of sequel ideas, we'll start making new shit, and then we'll make new sequels out of the new shit. So it is what it is. Damn.
We got like one more story to tackle real quick. We should probably do that because I think we're.
No, here's the callback of all callbacks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Here's the callback of all callbacks. Randy Orton and John Cena are out here doing Randy Orton and John Cena shit.
I love it, but then I listened to another.
I'm so irritated that this like was in their face
love it.
and they decided to just do it. I'm only irritated by that because I want other things because of it.
See, I love it because it's Orton's hometown. There's a lot of story there. Cena and Orton is a fantastic match that you can run during this retirement run for Cena. People are a little up in arms because they thought Randy should be the one that beats Cena. I disagree. I don't think that's the move. People are saying that it should have happened later in the title reign, in the retirement run. Sure, that's fine. Whatever. We can agree to disagree on that. I'm not really like sold either way. I think that St. Louis is the perfect place. I think Randy Orton will. I think the problem is coming out of WrestleMania 41. The problem is coming out of that. We've now Las Vegas has ruined everything. Las Vegas has ruined storytelling for wrestling right now. They have brought back the smart crowd, the crowd that boos the faces and cheers the heels, and that's okay because now we have this match where coming out of WrestleMania, Vegas was loving John Cena. This is going to be a problem throughout this entire year, quite frankly, because it's his retirement run. I'm not saying this wasn't the time to turn him heel, but this might not have been the best time to turn him heel because they're going to be fighting with crowds that are going to want to do nothing but cheer him because it's the last time they're going to see him in person. And that's so real. But listen, Cena and Orton is perfect because in Orton's hometown, they are more likely to cheer Orton and more importantly, boo Cena. Coming out of Vegas, where Vegas kind of said "fuck you" to all the alignment.
This is the last time St. Louis gets to see him too.
Might be the last time they see Randy Orton too.
I doubt it. So
I doubt it as well.
So I'm actually gonna throw out a theory that I started thinking of today. So I think, and obviously we can tell that the Cena turn was maybe not thought out. So I actually want to throw even more shit on top of the shit that we're talking about. Again, I'm taking a lot of left turns. I missed last week, so I didn't get to yap about this stuff. So last week we had an interview, and I don't know if Tyler talked about it because I'll be honest, I didn't listen to Tyler's post WrestleMania thing. So The Rock did an interview with Pat McAfee, right? And The Rock is giving up all of the story and all of the sauce and kind of explaining things that really make things be looked at in a different light, right? First off, the biggest question leaving WrestleMania was, where is The Rock, right? Where is the final boss? And he was not there. And he wasn't backstage. He wasn't somewhere in Vegas. He wasn't like even hanging out in the city after Vegas, like to do like some trolling post WrestleMania. Like, he's not here. And he's very much not here. And he's telling us that he's not here out of kayfabe.
Yeah.
Not in, and I don't count those pressers either. Like that's where, you know, we blur lines a bit, right? He's telling us with no uncertain fact on Pat McAfee, he is not here. And he is not coming back.
So I just want to preface this real quick because now I can plug it. This is the perfect time. I posted a TikTok, a YouTube short talking about this interview with Rock on the Pat McAfee show. It blew up on YouTube. We are sitting at 16,000 views. That's a record for us. Very excited about it. So thanks, y'all. But yeah, 300 likes, 20 comments. That's fantastic. A lot of subscribers from that too. But that being said, The Rock went on Pat McAfee's show and basically said that a lot of things. He actually said a lot. He said that he was not at WrestleMania because he decided he and Cena and Rhodes, I maybe not Rhodes, but him and Cena and Triple H all talked, and the powers that be decided that The Rock was not necessary for WrestleMania 41. That was wrong. But nevertheless, they said that he was not necessary for WrestleMania 41. He was not going to be there. So he also said that he said kind of in passing that there are plans for Cody to win the title back as a face, and then I believe drop the title and turn heel, or turn heel and not drop the belt down the line. So he's confirmed. He seemingly has confirmed plans that Cody will win the belt back and that Cody will turn heel at some point. Whether or not it's true is a different story. This could just be Rock talking out his ass and saying that, Triple H could have a completely different idea and just be entertaining The Rock's idea, and The Rock could just be hoganing this and thinking that they're going to go with it. But listen, I don't know.
So this is where the things get murky. And again, I'm going to turn to Sam Roberts. Company man Sam Roberts, right? And this is where, again, we kind of start breaking down the veil of the Sam Roberts podcast. And we see Sam Roberts as told by SiriusXM, the guy who we know has loved wrestling and has been a champion for pro wrestling in mainstream media for years, right? So this is the take that he says that I'm sitting with, right? This is where we start to get really messy because we're explaining the story in real time when we don't have the context. This is not the WrestleMania 40 documentary where it came out. And thankfully, in hindsight, it coming out in July was a much better move than it coming out 2 days after Cody winning. In hindsight. At the time, we were like, yo, what happened to this documentary? They stopped talking about it.
Knowing what came out, that's probably a good thing, or else it would have overshadowed.
It was a very good thing. And of course, AEW was deciding to do the CM Punk thing at the same time.
Hilarious.
So there's that. That probably did get considered because I'm sure that got leaked to them. We're telling the story in real time while explaining the story in real time, and that causes a lot of confusion because all of a sudden I don't know who I'm getting on TV. Am I getting Final Boss? Am I getting Rock? Am I getting Dwayne, the board member? Right? And so right now, there are some super out there theories on the internet. One of them being that Triple H and The Rock right now are vying for position with the writing.
Yep.
That there are rumors that The Rock, Seven Bucks team, and Brian Gewirtz are trying to take some decisions and writing ideas from the chief content officer, Triple H, right? Paul Levesque, right? The writer for these things, the executive producer of WWE, as you see in the end credits. And if you didn't watch this Rock interview, right, we're really going inside baseball now because all of this is super inside baseball. It's not how we feel about the stories. It's not how we feel about the people behind the stories. This is how we're feeling. This is the writers' room. Like this, we're getting deep behind the curtain right now. And so take that what you will as well. If you didn't see this Rock interview, you would hear that and go, that's bullshit. If you listen to this Rock interview and the things that he's saying and the things that he's giving away, you start to wonder if there really may be a legitimate case to start making this theory.
There was another thing that Rock brought up in that the whole thing with Elimination Chamber this year, with Rock being there, so Cody would sell his soul to The Rock. That was not initially planned. That was an emergency break glass option. Rock was there, according to Dwayne, he was there because Ari Emanuel, the head of the CEO of TKO, called him and said, Ticket sales are ass for Elimination Chamber. We need something to boost sales. Enter Dwayne. He was there to get people to buy tickets because there's a bigger issue that we could get into a whole other day about how expensive WWE tickets have been.
No, I get there. I'll get there right now with it. They're pricing us out. Like, because all this matters in this conversation, right? They're pricing us out. So we were having this to side tangent, right? Me and Tyler and my girl are going to WrestleMania, SummerSlam in Brooklyn for 2 nights in MetLife for 2 nights, right? And I was really concerned about these tickets. It's very public knowledge what the WrestleMania prices were. Exuberant. Location being what
for
it
us,
was.
$1,600 a piece for 2
A
nights, and we were lower bowl.
A night.
Oh, it was it was 2 nights.
No, I'm talking about Mania tickets, right?
Yeah. It was $1,600 for 2 nights for Mania, and then we had the other ticket was for the rest of the shows. I'm just talking about Mania, the 2 night thing alone.
So Mania 40. Those were money for Mania 40.
Sorry, I wasn't talking.
If we were going for 41, which we did entertain, and we entertained up until about Elimination Chamber, we really did entertain it. Like it was a concept that we were gonna do for the pod, for content, and for, of course, our general enjoyment. We're wrestling fans. We love this shit. That's why we're sitting here talking about it like a bunch of losers. And it was like $2,000 for one night on a terrible written card. Granted, it's Vegas, so like there is going to be a bigger price increase than a Philly. No offense to Philly, I love Philly, but Philly ain't going to sell like Las Vegas. Just city wise, like the concept of going to that city. But it was like $2,000 a night, and that's just for WrestleMania. If you want to get the package, which means you want to go to NXT, you want to go to SmackDown, the Hall of Fame, and Raw, right? So 6 shows in 4 days, like you're looking at $10,000. Like you're pricing out the casual fans. There are a bunch of wrestling media people who aren't paid by WWE who did go and who paid out of pocket and have talked about this and how expensive it was and how that you're pricing out the people who are the ones getting popular on TikTok and are the ones that you're taking and putting in your promos and probably not paying them because you don't have to, right? So like business wise, yes, you don't have to pay them, but I mean morally wise, it's a little scummy because these are people who weed in the casuals who are scrolling on TikTok. And the fact that you're going to price out all of these people does not work. Why are so many UFC fighters getting free front row tickets? Why is George Kittle at every event? Like, no offense to George Kittle, who I know bleeds WWE and pro wrestling. Like, we know that. Like, that makes sense. You're pricing everybody out, homie. Like, so looking at the SummerSlam tickets, we were nervous. Fortunately, we found some decent seats, I think, for a decent price. But that was on pre-sale, and that was the pre-sale before the pre-sale. Like, I don't even like. I kind of want to look and see what the tickets are right now because I'm kind of curious. Because I would venture to guess they're going to be somewhere a little lower than Mania, right? Like that's just what I'm guessing, and that sucks. So that being said, nobody could afford Toronto or nobody wanted to go to Toronto. To me, Toronto looked like a great card on paper before The Rock, right? 2 stacked Elimination Chamber matches. Rock came in 2 weeks before Elimination Chamber, so we knew exactly who the men's were, and we knew exactly who the women's were. We knew that Trish Stratus match was probably happening by that point. I think we knew most of the card. We knew the KO
the
and
Sammy KO match definitely
was already happening. Like we knew most of the card. Like Rock didn't need to be there. Like that was y'all fault. If y'all really want to talk about ticket sales, that's y'all fault for putting it in a baseball stadium when you don't have to. You don't have to put every pay-per-view in these stadiums. You don't. When like you could just put it in an arena. Like 20K will buy that Elimination Chamber card without Rock.
Not only that, to put it in perspective, I live in the New England area, right? Boston, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, all that stuff. That's all accessible to me by bus, by train, by whatever, right? So this summer they announced a bunch of dates. There's a SmackDown in Boston, which is perfect because Cena, and there's a Raw in Providence. in July, and the SmackDown's just after SummerSlam, like a couple weeks after. So I go on both shows. The tickets went on sale the same day, same time. So first I get the Boston show because I'm like, that one's gonna be the problem. So it was expensive. It's more expensive than I've paid for Boston shows. I paid a similar price to what I paid this time than what I did for like Monday Night Raw a couple months back. So for this Monday Night Raw, the SmackDown in Boston, I paid about $115 for a back of lower bowl ticket in TD Garden. It's a big arena, so it's kind of far, but it's not a terrible view. Next, I go to look at Providence Arena, Amica Mutual Pavilion, very small, right?
Shout out to Dunkin' Donuts.
Shout out to Dunkies, baby. So Amica Mutual Pavilion, right? Very small arena. Lower section, you're kind of eye level with the ring, and it's like very close. But it's a small arena, and they never sell it out. There's always curtained off sections, right? I go on there. The cheapest balcony seat was $166 for a balcony level ticket. Insane. I refuse. Everyone knows I'm a big shill. I'm a shill for anything I'm passionate about. Listen, that I can't get behind. Balcony seating for more than $150 is ridiculous. Even more than $120. Even more than $100 is bad. They used to advertise these shows for $30 balcony tickets, and now they're $160.
So hold on. Let's recognize our privilege right now, right? Let's recognize our privilege for a second. Because I'm kind of formulating this now as I'm hearing this, right? Let's recognize our privilege. One, WWE is a hot commodity. This isn't monster trucks. This is WWE, right? Like
this isn't late 2010s WWE.
Which is insane to talk about, right? Like WWE is a commodity now. WWE is also owned by the same people who have UFC, so the marketing is different and changes kind of who they're aiming to now, right? They're aiming for a cooler 18 to 42-year-old than they probably used to, right? They're also aiming in bigger cities. They don't go to the smaller markets as much anymore. They don't do all the live shows anymore. So these are the only times you get to see these wrestlers these days. They do a lot more international stuff. They do a lot more international stuff that's on TV now. Also factor in Netflix for that too. So let's recognize that. Also, let's start with the concept of acknowledging our privilege. This is, these tickets these days are on some level of par that like some of a top artist would be. So any artist who can sell an arena, right? The balcony seats aren't the cheapest seats in the world. You're not spending $30 to go see Drake in the balconies. You're not, right? And if we're going to talk about WWE and compare it to and put it in comparison, WWE is the Drake of professional wrestling. So in that aspect, you do have to say, yeah, I've looked at Drake tickets before, and I've looked at balcony seats, and they were about 150, 160, 170 for balcony, and I'm like, do I want to pay that to sit in the balcony? And I go, it depends, right? Who am I going with? But I mean, again, so let's recognize the privilege of the fact that we are a commodity, and because of that, we are going to get expensive. The sad part of that is you're going to price us out.
It's already happening. It's already happening. It's going to happen for WrestleMania.
You did price us out.
WrestleMania, I'm pretty confident that WrestleMania is out of reach for the rest of time.
I think 40 was the one. I think 40 was the one because I don't foresee myself affording a Mania anytime soon. No. I'm not paying 2 months worth of rent to go to Mania. I'm not. I can't. That's fiscally irresponsible. Like I love WWE and I love going to events, but I don't know if I could stomach that when there are other things that I could pay for. I could pay for furniture. I could I'm a musician by trade as well, and I could spend money to make my gear better. I could get gear on layaway that's really good for that price. It's just not feasible to go there and entertain myself for 3 hours or 6 hours combined over 4 days for $3,000. It's just not feasible. WWE does have to remember this is entertainment.
I'm not gonna lie. I would go to an AEW show with these prices, I could go to an AEW show, sit in the first 5 rows, get a beer, get another beer, and get some food, and still be paying less than what I would pay for an average night at a WWE show at this point.
That's a $200 self-date. That's a great time.
It's a fantastic time. I did it twice.
That's an expensive self-date, but that's a self-date.
I've done it. Listen, I literally did it. I paid $30 for one of the best espresso martinis I ever had and regret the decision until I took that sip. So good. But anyway, and it was a great show.
AEW is only fun in games when they don't move you. I'm still sick, so I refuse to give them money.
That's crazy. I had such a good time, and they didn't move me.
Dude, I was camera side. You would have seen my ugly face on camera. That's all right. My ugly face is on camera every week, but still, like, what the fuck?
Much smaller audience, but
honestly, it's still a bigger audience.
I'm dead.
Oh, I'm talking about AEW. AEW.
Oh, yeah.
They don't get views either, but neither do we.
You're right. We're working on it here.
So, all right, now that we've gone way off the beaten path.
True.
Cena and Orton, this is as WWE as you can get. Cena is arriving, talking shit, taking a finisher, and leaving. He's got a countdown.
I love that. Keep that going.
Orton tried to make Cena see the light. Cena said, "I'm gonna erase your entire family," and that's it.
Orton said he'd defend his family and the business and whatever. It was about the business because Cena wants to ruin wrestling. So Orton's like, "Listen, this business gave me everything."
Is Cowboy Bob Orton still alive?
I think he is still alive. Yeah.
I can't wait for the Cowboy Bob Orton run-in when the ref gets knocked down.
What about the John Felix Anthony Cena senior run-in?
Oh, you mean Johnny Fabulous?
Yeah.
What if Johnny Fabulous is the one that brings Cena back to the light?
Or he's like the mouthpiece, or he's like a corner man.
What if he hits his dad? His dad's a heel.
Ooh.
We cooked. But then Cena turns on his father.
Yeah, well, he has to.
He has to turn on his dad.
And then accepts Christian as his father.
All those times that Orton... What if all those times Orton hit him in the head, so Orton brings in his father, and Cena just lets him do it?
Cena punts Cowboy Bob. We never got the pun, by the way.
So we're obviously taking this story super seriously.
Well, listen, I mean, like, the match is going to be what it is, right? Here's the thing. The idea of John Cena and Randy Orton on paper, to me, sounded so fucking great. And then I remembered what John Cena and Randy Orton wrestle like. And not just what John Cena wrestles like, what John Cena as a heel in 2025 wrestles like. And that was so slow. And Orton is already so slow. You're telling me Orton's going to be the one to carry?
No.
Yes, he is. No. He's gonna be the one to carry.
Carry what?
Cena, because Cena's gonna purposely work slow, because that's Cena's new character. He's ruining wrestling. He's gonna make it boring.
Can't wait to watch 5 moves of doom again.
Deadass, this match is gonna be so fucking slow. This is gonna be a match that's dictated by the crowd vibes. That's really all it is.
We're here for vibes. Clearly, we don't actually care, as told by WrestleMania. We're here for vibes.
Listen, if we're gonna get a match with John Cena as a heel, this is a good option. There are other options, but not many as good as this one.
So I guess my only complaint is, do we get other cool things in cool cities? Punk and Cena in Chicago immediately comes to mind.
People are saying Punk Cena in Money in the Bank, L.A.
No, while I like that it's L.A., while I like that it's Money in the Bank because the history there, Punk and Cena in Chicago.
I think it might end up being L.A. I don't know when. When are they going to Chicago again?
Never. I don't see a Chicago date.
Bet. So it's going to be Money in the Bank.
Oh, that's so lame.
And we get another,
but it's so lame.
We have King and Queen of the Ring too. They haven't announced it, but I'm assuming it's happening again this year because they made it a big deal to say it's a tradition.
Don't assume things.
You're right, but they did say it would be a
Because we assumed Sammy could have just kicked him in the face. Look at that
I
callback
guess.
to the beginning of the episode.
Goddamn. That might be a good time to start to wrap things up here a little bit. What are you thinking?
The last few notes being that Fraxium debuted. Good for Fraxium.
It's a great day to be a MILF. Man, I love Fraxium. Except they should have been on Raw. SmackDown did not need Fraxium.
Won the U.S. Championship. We couldn't have done that at WrestleMania. For why?
Because her husband debuted on SmackDown that night. Aleister Black is back.
I'm going to be honest. Yawn.
Well, yeah, that was kind of a mid thing. It's cool to see him back. It's great to have him. The roster is hella deep.
And we had... So remember we have a history of deep rosters around here, right? And it's not just with them; it's with NXT and it's with AEW, right? Like it.
And
last thing we need is more people right now who don't go on TV or don't do anything. Andrade
think about who's
back.
On the shelf.
Andrade came back.
Yeah, think about who's on the shelf. Ilya, Bronson Reed.
Somebody said that Vince McMahon, Triple H, and Charlotte all folded with Andrade. Nobody knows how to handle him.
Yeah, it's true. I don't really know what's going to happen with Andrade. I feel like he had something happen on SmackDown this week, but I don't remember what it was.
No, we didn't. We haven't seen anything since he did the fucking Best of 7.
Well, you may not have seen it, but I had seen... Oh, he was the runner-up in the Andre. That's what he did. He was the runner-up in the Andre. It was him and Carmelo won. By the way, Carmelo winning the Andre is such a W. Such a great move. Fantastic pick. How we feeling? We got our shit off? We're good?
Yeah. Thank you for letting me pop off.
Y'all, thanks so much for tuning in this week. We super, super appreciate it. We should have probably said something at the beginning of the episode, but I'll say it right now. For those that are wondering... this week, it is just myself and Emil, and we didn't really mention our dear friend, our third man, Yusuf. Yusuf is alive and well. He's fantastic. He did not die, despite the way I just started that. Yusuf has decided to step away for a little while. He just has been very burnt out by the wrestling world and what's going on, and he's very busy in his personal life. He reached out to me directly and let me know that he would like to take a step back, and there have been multiple instances of Yusuf expressing the desire to do so, and I feel personally that I've kind of pressured him into coming back in and to not doing that. But I know he's wanted it for a while, and I did not want to stand in his way. And we love him to death. He's welcome back anytime. I'm sure he'll be back when wrestling does get better, but right now it's just not a thing for him. It's not really a place of enjoyment for him. So yeah, we love him very much. I'm sure he'll be back, but for now, it's going to be myself and Emil carrying the fort for the time being. So we hope you all continue to rock with us. We appreciate it. Keep checking us out all over socials. You can listen to this podcast anywhere you get podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. You can leave ratings, reviews, comments, all that lovely stuff. You can find us on YouTube to see our ugly mug faces if you want to see how we visually react to one another's dog shit boo-boo takes. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube, leave a comment, like the video, all that good stuff. Any kind of support absolutely helps. And follow us on TikTok. We are posting on TikTok short form content as well as on YouTube. But TikTok is really the place where I think that we can grow the most and really build this community to be what it is. So we appreciate your support in advance and thank y'all so much. We hope to see y'all next week. Y'all have a good week. Let's hope things get better. Take it easy.